Good evening, friends. On behalf of Sustainable Consumption and Production Forum Sri Lanka, I'd like to invite all of you to this webinar. This is the fifth the webinar of this webinar series. We have a monthly webinar every month on 27th of every month. We have this webinar starting at 8 o'clock for about 1 hour. Today, before I introduce the speaker today, for those who are the non-members of our forum, just a brief introduction to the forum. This forum is a newly established professional body in Sri Lanka, incorporated as a non-profit making organization by a set of like-minded professionals who are interested in engaging in sustainable initiatives like sustainable consumption and production, green development, low carbon development, and the circular economy, and so on and so forth. So our task is to facilitate the state sector, the private sector, and any other party who's interested in getting into the sustainability drive. So those who are interested in becoming a member of this organization, either as an individual or institutional member, are kindly invited to visit our website. It is www.scp.lk, and you can use the online application to make an application to get the membership. So with this little introduction, this session is recorded. Let me invite our speaker today, Engineer Kasun Karunanayake, promising young engineer who is heading the Circular Economy Services Division of Clean Tech Private Limited of well-known Aban Groups. And he's a chemical and processes engineer passed out from the University of Peradeniya. So today, he will enlighten us on the topic here chosen, that is the towards responsible waste management. And also, I think we will have the opportunity of learning about this, the parent organization, Abans Group, one of the pioneering companies engaged in waste management as a private entity. So this session, we will have a presentation for about 30 to 40 minutes and giving us more time for question and answers. So you are invited to raise your questions through chat box, so you can raise hand and ask question. So now I will, now we have 33 participants. The participants are still coming, but I will keep on admitting them. And also from now onward, I will give the sharing facility to our presenter today, Kapun Karunanayake. You can start your presentation. Let me share give you the sharing right. Kasun.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. And also, Kasun, for a few minutes, can you switch on your video so
Yeah.
that the others can see who we are? And this session is recorded, and so you can start your presentation. So,
Okay. So good evening all, and thank you, Mr. Gamini Senanayake, for that introduction. And first of all, I would like to thank for this Sustainable Consumption and Production Forum for having this kind of forum to share our knowledge and also to learn something new. Even during the last four webinars, I learned a lot of things from our professors and also doctors. There are research findings and also the things we should learn when we are dealing with the waste management and also the environment impact. So with having said that, so we'll start the presentation. Mr. Gamini Senanayake, am I audible?
yes, Kasun. Yes, Kasun. Yeah, I can hear you well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So good evening again, all. And also this is the fifth webinar of the Sustainable Consumption and Production Forum. In the last four webinars, we basically discussed about the technical aspects of these environmental aspects, and also they shared about the research findings. Dr. Sugitapala, Dr. Inoka, Engineer Parakrama Jayasingh, and also Professor Parakrama Karunaratne. They shared with us valuable inputs and a lot of things to learn. Today, in my presentation, I'm going to touch the areas where we faced in doing the operations. So basically, we had to face a lot of challenges when we are dealing with the waste management. So I will be sharing those points, what are the challenges we had to face and what are the inputs, the key learnings towards a responsible waste management. And the title of today's presentation is Towards a Responsible Waste Management. So waste, when you say waste, what comes to your mind first? It can be a dumping site like the Meter which was collapsed, and the garbage put here and there in roads, right at the place where the notice say don't put garbage, and the elephants, cows eating the food mixed with polythene packages. So that is what comes to our mind when we say waste. So basically, waste is something, if not properly dealt with, waste poses a threat to public health and the environment. So not only us, the world has made waste the worst. So it is said that, as you can see in this image, it is said that more than 2.01 billion of waste is generated annually in the world. But trust me, the real figure is number of times than this, because the surveys are conducted to get these statistics, but with the practical situations, this can be changed. So that is why I said the actual figure can be number of times than this. So, and when it comes to your life, now it's 8 p.m. today. So just think about the amount of waste you generated today itself. It can be food waste, it can be plastic waste, maybe the discarded phone battery, newspaper, tissues or the paper towels, corrugated boxes, glass, aluminum foils. So you have already generated a lot of waste during these few hours. So as the stats says, in India, it is 0.17 to 0.62 kilograms per person day, the waste generation. But in Sri Lanka, it is said that it is around 0.5. So like you, there are billions of people generate waste. So as shown this figure, majority of the waste generated is food. It can be the fish offcuts and also vegetable offcuts, the spoiled vegetable fruits. So a lot of perishable waste is there. And as shown in this image, 44% is from the perishable waste, and from paper cardboard it is 17%, plastic it is 12%, and the list is going on. So as the graph says, South Asia is ranked as the third when it comes to the generation of waste annually. So Sri Lanka also belongs to South Asia. So there, after India, we also have major role in generating this waste. So it is crystal clear that Sri Lanka need to step up in addressing the waste problem. So if not, it can be cause for a huge problem. It is not the role of only the government. So that should be understood by each and every citizens of this country. It is not only the government, but there is a huge role to play as a citizens of this country. Now we should understand, is waste a problem? So as you already got made a image in your mind, you find waste as a problem. As I discussed in the previous slide, globally creates large amounts of waste: food and garden waste, construction waste, mining waste, industrial waste, sludge, electronic waste, plastic bags, paper, sanitary waste, old clothes, apparels, furnitures. So list is going on, because there are a lot of waste categories we can identify when we talk about waste as a problem. So the
Kasun,
amount of
Kasun, can I disturb you for a second? There are some waiting in the waiting room. Can you please admit them?
okay.
Okay.
I will.
Sorry.
Now I think they join, right?
Thank you.
Okay. Shall I proceed?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so the amount of waste we generate depends on our consumption and production pattern. So let's consider electronic waste generation. With the technological and advancements, people tends to buy new appliances and new devices. Just imagine how much of electronic appliances and electrical appliances entered the market during the last couple of years. So yes, it makes our life so easy, but on the other hand, it poses a challenge in handling the e-waste generated. So just recall how many mobile phones you used during the last 10 years. How many laptops, how many computers, how many radios you used. So everything has a shelf life. So then after the shelf life, you should discard it. And the how many items you have handed over to authorized recyclers. That's the concern all of you we should ask, because they are informal sector and also the formal sector in handling this waste. Uh, there are a few others also joining it. I will. Okay. So that's what I talked about. What I talked about was e-waste, and now think about the plastic waste generation. So with our living patterns getting complex, we are used to use for the fast food and also use packed food. So how many shopping bags enter your house per visit to the supermarket? So out of that, how much you recycle? If you can't recycle, at least you can direct that to the recycling. So just recall and just ask yourself how much you have directed for the recycling. And the demographic changes, like an increase in the number of one person households, it is
make sure that you don't have any taxation issue or standing issue. This one, I'm sure that this is complex. This is
okay. uh, so with the increase in the number of one person households, it also affect the amount of waste we generate. And there is a concern about the accuracy of the figures we have at the moment. As I said earlier, with the practical difficulties, there are some differences. So from those, since that is not accurate, it is difficult to count for certain decisions as well. So as per the analysis carried out by the University of Newcastle in Australia, people are consuming about 5 grams of plastic every week, so which is equivalent of a credit card size. So that equal around 250 grams of plastic per year. So now just imagine about your health. So it is at stake. And open burning, another problem we discussed in the last webinar as well by Professor Karunaratna. He clearly showed the danger with the facts and figures in having the open burning. And next, the ocean pollution and the pollution of water sources. It is something we all know will happen with the increasing irresponsible waste disposal methods. And now we discussed about the waste, the problem. So next we are moving to the waste, a resource. So how can waste is becoming a resource? So we discussed about the waste, the problem, but some people see it as a resource. Every morning, every evening, you hear the voice of recyclable collector. Every day you are seeing a lot of lorries carrying these recyclables. So most of them are these butter lorries, and there is two different sectors, as I said, formal sector and informal sector. I will be discussing that in the coming slides. But anyway, that is a resource for those people. That is a way they can generate income. So do you know the yogurt you consumed yesterday is an income source for you? But if you see it as a waste, then it is just a waste. But if you see it as something you can generate some resource, yes, it can give you some income as well. As the example said, it is made of HIPS plastic. There are different types of plastic. The yogurt cup is made of HIPS plastic, which is 100% recyclable. Only thing you have to do is, after consuming, you just have to clean it. Otherwise, it will be a huge headache or the processing cost for the recycler. That's why if you can clean it and give it for the recycler, then it is 100% recyclable. And there are some other products you can make from the recyclable plastic and recyclable materials like dustbins, brushes, the carpets, packaging materials, egg cartons, glass containers, steel products. And today I got to know that Sri Lanka is trying to make the coffins out of the recyclable cardboards for the COVID victims. And it can be used to make the pipes, bricks. So there are a lot of applications, and these are just few out of the thousands applications we can do from the recyclable waste. And there is another thing called upcycling is another way of addressing the waste issue. So, but it also carries some pros and cons as well. It is basically a process of taking something that is no longer needed or no longer wanted to giving it new life as something that is useful or creative. So it means there are it helps to turn something the non-recyclable plastic. Basically, the benefit of upcycling is it is used basically the non-recyclable plastic. So it helps if you are using this the recycling or the upcycling. So it helps to reduce the need for production using new raw material, which means reduction in air pollution. It can be reduction in water pollution and the greenhouse gas emission. So that is why this recycling and upcycling everything is good for the environment in when we see waste as a resource. Not only that, we can extract metals, precious metals from electronic waste, and electronic waste can be considered, and not only the electronic waste, but recyclable waste is also export revenue generator because it can bring a lot of foreign exchange, and this waste can be used for the energy generation since it has the lot of calorific value as well. So this is the way if we see waste as a resource. But the problem is waste problem is bigger than the waste as a resource. So So in the last couple of months, I have personally seen the people are using non-recyclable plastic for to make car parks and also to make roads. So that is good usage of the non-recyclable plastic, since we are out of options. And these are the few images of the Sri Lankan waste problem. So till now, basically, we cover the areas we see as globally, but this is the context in Sri Lanka, where they may be these images are familiar to you because you have seen these images when you are traveling in Colombo. Where this is the left corner images about the collapse in the waste, the Mitra dam site. So these images are familiar to us. So Sri Lanka carries some woeful memories with waste. Basically, in 2017, 14th of April, majority of the Sri Lankans were celebrating the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, but a set of people were facing a disaster with the collapse of this Mitharamulla garbage pile. So in the same way, there were a lot of incidents where citizens of this country had to suffer with the waste problem. So because it impacts people the economically, physically, mentally, and all the possible ways. Uh, so as per a survey done by Central Environment Authority and the Ministry of Environment, it is found that daily solid waste generation in Sri Lanka is around 9,810.93 metric tons per day. So out of that, only 50% is collected. So there are 50% that is not collected as well. So further to make it worse, Sri Lankan soil, coastlines, rivers, wetlands, lakes, and other ecosystems have already become the dumping sites, dumping grounds, and polluted due to the plastic material and also the microplastic. So it was recently reported that 6,000 square kilometers of the Bay of Bengal has now become a dead zone due to this plastic. And the next point is the burning plastics, especially PVC, emits very toxic fumes, including the dioxins and furans, which are very which are responsible for many lung diseases and cancers. In the previous webinar, we discussed a lot about this, and it carries a lot of diseases for because of this open burning of these PVC. And the microplastic pollution is one of the main cause of rapidly declining fishing stocks. In 1980, we had 300,000 tons of fishing stock, but it has reduced drastically during these last 30 years. With one reason is this microplastic. And in Sri Lanka, this the fishing is something uh, job, the occupation for most of the people in this coastal area. So it hits economically as well. So therefore, this ocean plastic is something we need to address immediately. And we in 2050, if we just if he doesn't act responsibly, definitely by 2050, it is said that the weight in the garbage in the ocean is equal to the fish stock in the sea. So that is a very dangerous situation. Definitely, we should address that immediately. And about the usage of shopping bags and the lunch sheets. So basically it says more than 20 millions of shopping bags we using daily, and lunch sheets it is around 15 million. So it is a huge amount. So during the last few years, ministry and the environmental authority taken certain actions to reduce the usage of plastic, the shopping bags, and also the lunch sheets. So one step was banning on the using polythene food wrappers in 2017, but with different challenges, it wasn't seeing the success because, as I believe, because we didn't have proper set of rules and regulations, and also lack of monitoring were the reasons for that. So because I have personally experienced that as well. In 2017, after implementing this ban, it was started 2018 January onwards, and the manufacturers, polythene, the food wrappers manufacturers tend to import the compostable materials. It is PBAT material basically and PLA. So they imported and they started to manufacture compostable lunch sheets. Basically, we say it as lunch sheets. But the problem was most of them realized that the government is not monitoring it properly, and they are they don't implement stringent actions against these illegal manufacturers. So they also started to manufacture it illegally. Some of the people started to manufacture high density polyethylene lunch sheets again, which is illegal. And also personally, I have seen some of the manufacturers have produce the compostable lunches mixed with low density polyethylene. So something who doesn't have a good training and good knowledge can't identify whether it is compostable or not when it is mixed with a bit of low density polyethylene. So that is something we should address immediately, because after they producing that mixing with the low density polyethylene, they label it as a compostable sheet and put it in the market. So that is a very dangerous situation. And because since it is not the strength is not enough, the supermarkets also trying to put a lot of shopping bags to carry the items taken by the consumers. So I think because of these rules and regulations, the loopholes in the rules and regulations, it wasn't success, and the manufacturers, illegal manufacturers, knew they just can come back and do it again after paying a small amount of money. So they started do it again. Even in a 100 square feet room, they can produce a lot of items. They just need an extruder. So it is a very pathetic situation after implementing this banning. So it is always good to uh, have these kind of bans, but uh, it should be implemented strategically, which can which save the which will be helpful for the legal manufacturers. I mean, not to improve the encourage the legal, but to help the legal manufacturers. And the next thing is the pollution of water sources. So what assurance you have at the moment about the water you are drinking? So when the first drinking water bottle introduced in Sri Lanka, did anyone believe it is going to be succeeded? No, right? Because we have ample of drinking water in Sri Lanka. So why we are going for a bottled drink? But what about now? Do you like to drink water taken from a well or the water taken from a bottled water? Because we don't have any test reports regarding this well water, so that's why we still be like to take the bottled water. So that has already happened, and we don't have any assurance about the water sources of Sri Lanka due to plastic pollution and also the electronic waste generates a lot of the heavy metals, so that can be added to the water sources as well. I will discuss in the future slides. And with the surveys and researchers done, it is found that the Western province generate around 3,500 metric tons, 3,500 metric tons of solid waste a day, of which only 2,400 metric tons is collected. So, so out of this, approximately 15% is turned into compost and 10% is recycled. So the rest of the 75% is thrown into the open dump. But nowadays, with the implementing the waste to energy plant in Colombo district, it is directed for the waste to energy plant. And furthermore, Sri Lanka annually imports 200,000 metric tons of raw plastic materials. It includes HDP, high density polyethylene, lower density polyethylene, PVC, polypropylene, and HIPS plastic, PET plastic, ABS. So there are a lot of types of plastic. So they have imported over 200,000 metric tons of plastic. So out of that, around 70% is for daily use in Sri Lanka, and while only 30% is exported. So it means 70% is stay in Sri Lanka. And as I mentioned earlier, only 10% out of that 10% is recycled. So, and apart from that, as per the surveys conducted by one of the PET bottle recycling in Sri Lanka, they said only 1/3 of PET bottles are directed for recycling. So there is a problem with the rest of the two-third of PET bottles. And this shows the how the spatial distribution of per house, the plastic waste generation in different districts and also different provinces. Then the electronic waste problem in Sri Lanka. So people think e-waste only has valuable materials, the precious metals, but it is not. It has very hazardous metals as well. So basically the electronic waste and also mobile phones, they have substances of these. It has toxics to the health of living beings. And if you discuss about the health impacts, it has lead, chromium, mercury, copper. So there are a lot of the metals which can cause different issues in for the human body. For an example, lead, if you say lead exposure has long, it's shown to cause severe impairments in children and systematic health deterioration in adults. So that is just one example. If you can see in the images, this is the informal market I said. If you are giving your electronic waste for a formal and authorized recycler, this doesn't happen. This open burning and throwing here and there, the non-valuable parts have discarded to the canals. So this can't be happen if you are giving it for a formal and authorized recycler. And there's a problem with the data security as well. Nowadays, people has a huge problem with the data they have. They have can be pen drives, it can be mobile phones, hard drives. So all these are contained data, very confidential data. So if you're giving for the informal sector, who knows where it will be ended up with. So that's why it is always encouraging to the citizens in this country to dispose your electronic waste with a responsible and authorized e-waste recycler. And the corner image, it shows how the informal sector is burning wires to take the copper out of it. So it is very unfortunate situation. This is happened in Sri Lanka at the moment. So that's why I said we can't have the assurance about the water we drink, since this can be add to the water sources as well. And next, the waste segregation problem. So this is very basic thing. As the responsible citizens in the country, as I said, always you should try to direct the recyclable materials for the recycling. Otherwise, it will be ended up in a landfill. So that is not the good best option. So always, so just imagine if just think about your home. So how many bins you have at the moment? If it is one, then all the waste will be collected to the same bin. So it can be the perishable waste, food waste, the fruits, vegetables, metals, paper, polythene, everything will be collected in one bin. Then that is not the duty of a responsible citizens in this country. You always should try to direct the recyclable items to a proper recycler. That's why we should always encourage to use different bins. So then you have one bin for the perishable food waste, and the other may be for the paper waste, the other one will be for the plastic waste. Then at the end of the day it will be ended up in a recycling factory, and it will be recycled properly. So this is the importance of waste segregation. So this is the first step in a proper waste management plan. So it will help to make a cleaner environment, and it will help to reduce pollution and maintain good public health. And the segregation of waste is very cheap. So you just have to invest on a couple of bins. So that's it. After that, as I took the example earlier, as an example, yogurt cup. If you are after consuming, you just have to wash it and put in the relevant garbage bin. Then it can be recycled. Otherwise, if you put that with the food particles, it will be an additional cost for the recycler. So he has to wash it and he has to process it, and then it will not encourage the recycler as well. And as you all know, there are problems arise the improper waste segregation. It can be difficult to segregate mixed waste, and contaminate soil, water, and air with chemicals and hazardous material, bad impact on human, animal, and marine health. So it adversely affects the local economy. As I said earlier, if you are not recycling, then it helps to uh, it make an impact on the economy as well. So it will ended up in the ocean, let's say ocean. So that will cost the fishermen as well. So that is how the chain goes on. That's why it helps. If you are recycling properly, that will boost the economy as well. And diseases carrying pest and slow. Finally, if you are not do the basic step in waste segregation, it's slowly killing the planet. That's what happened at the end of the day. So this is also something we all can practice. It may be at home, it may be at your factory, it may be at your office. The 3R concept, that is something we all know. But the problem is, are we following these all these three concepts? So first one is reduce. Reduce means the minimizing generation of waste in the first place by repairing and reconditioning all part of the product. So for an example, if you go to the supermarket, if you can bring a cloth bag, then you don't have to use these shopping bags, number of shopping bags. Just imagine if you want to buy 1 kilogram of maybe rice, then they will be putting two shopping bags for that. So that should not be encouraging. For instead of that, if you can use a cloth bag, then definitely the usage of plastic is reduced. So that can be the first step. And next, the reuse. So utilizing products again with the same or for a different purpose. Let's say if you buy a jam bottle, then after consuming it, you can use that jam bottle to preserve another food. So I think most of the time you are practicing it, but to make it success, we all need to practice these things. And finally, the recycle. That is something we discussed till now. So this is the 3R concept, and definitely we can uh, follow and practice in maybe in our office and factories. As I said, in let's say in our office, if you want to print something, always it is encouraged to use the soft copies. But if you barely want to print it, try to use it, print it in the both sides. So it will help to reduce one more paper. And usually it says 1 ton of paper, recycling paper will save 17 trees. So you can be a part of saving trees as well if you use this 3R concept. Okay, so now onwards, I will be discussing a bit uh, about this the clean tech private limited. So always it is easy to uh, talk from our perspective, since we have in this waste management field over the years. So we have gone through different challenges, and we have faced different policy changes, and we have worked with different governments as well. So we have the experience, and also we have some the learnings during this period. So it is always easy to talk from that perspective. So I decided to talk with our clean tech perspective. And as a responsible waste management company in Sri Lanka, we always try to achieve the sustainable development goals. As you all know, there are 17 sustainable development goals introduced by the United Nations to be achieved by 2030. And out of that 17 sustainable development goals, we have selected 12 out of 17, because we believe if we go for the proper waste management, responsible waste management, it has a direct impact on these 12 sustainable development goals. And we have set our vision and the mission. The vision is to become the most professional, innovative, and leading waste management specialist in Sri Lanka and develop a global brand. Our mission is to provide integrated waste management solutions while adhering to internationally accepted operational health and safety standards, backed by a team of professionals committed to excellence. So as Mr. Gamni Senananga said, so the participants also can get an idea about the clean tech, and they also can support us for our future expansions as well. So basically, uh, we are handling waste in all over the country, but the majority of the waste in Western province we are handling at the moment. So we are managing approximately 13,500 tons of waste monthly. So more than 50% is sent for the composting, and we are doing the recycling as well. So Cleantech adhere to all the legal clearance having, because since you are having in the field of waste management, definitely you should have a lot of clearances and a lot of licenses from the government side. Otherwise, the main problem is having the informal market. So that's the difference in the formal and informal market. Since we are acting in the formal sector, we have all these clearances, solid waste management licenses, and also the licenses for all sewerage unloading at government approved treatment plants, environment protection license, scheduled waste management license, that is for the electronic waste management, and Sri Lanka Ports Authority licenses for tank, boiler cleaning, sludge, garbage removal. Apart from this, we have the Basel clearance, which helps to send the waste, electronic waste from Sri Lanka to some other countries. And this is one division. We have solid waste management department. So here we do the service we are the service provider to Colombo, Sri Javardhan Purukotte municipal councils, and maintenance of expressways, which comes under Road Development Authority. And we do the door-to-door garbage collection and street cleaning and maintenance, and also the public crowded space cleaning and deep cleaning. If you are traveling in Colombo, definitely will be seeing our staff is dedicated staff is work 24/7 to make the city clean. And this is the resource recovery services department we have. Basically is the recycling division. So this is where we generate the export revenue, because we are exporting printed circuit boards that is derived from the electronic waste, and so it brings the foreign exchange to the country. And apart from that, we are recycling plastic, paper, metals, styrofoam, glass, the coconut shells. So whatever the recyclable materials we have, we always we always do the recycling. And also we at the moment we are looking for the opportunities for the expansion, and we are trying to implement the total recycling solutions along with consultation services, where the CP forum also can help us in going in that way. And we have basically we are processing around 15 metric tons of PET bottles, which is the water bottles, and 80 metric tons of paper waste, over 100 kilograms of styrofoam, 50 metric tons of e-waste monthly. And this is about the electronic waste recycling, which is an hot topic these days in this country, not only in the country but globally. So we have a pre-processing facility with scheduled waste management license and also the environment protection license. Here we have a well-trained staff, because we also always trying to secure the safety of the workers, and we are following the world standard in processing electronic waste, because it is hazardous waste. And we have a responsible collection and transportation mechanism. We have dedicated staff and also dedicated vehicle for the transportation of electronic waste. As I said earlier, we are an authorized company for the transboundary movement of e-waste under the Basel Convention. For the people who doesn't have any idea about this Basel Convention, it is basically a convention which applies for the movement of waste from country to one country to another one. So since we are transferring electronic waste, definitely we should have this Basel clearance. For an example, if you are sending the electronic waste to Europe, we have to take the permission from all the transit countries. Otherwise, we can't send. And we also ensure the credibility. We are providing destruction certificates. Once you provide us your electronic device, after destruction, we will be providing the destruction certificate as well. And we do the confidential data destruction. That is very important. That is something people always trying to find solutions, because you have pen drives, the hard drives, mobile phones. You are concerned about the data security. So we are providing that data destruction service as well. And the buyback programs, that is one we are doing with our mother company, Abans Group. So they have the number of more than 500 showrooms island-wide. So what they are doing, anyone who has a discarded electronic waste item can bring it to the showroom, and from the showroom we provide the electronic waste management service. We are going there and bring it to our facility and dispose it responsibly. So apart from this, we have our own collection mechanism. So we have different collection centers, head office, the resource recovery center in Sapugaskand area, and we have e-waste collection centers. That is a project done collaboratively with the Colombo Municipal Council and also Waste Management Authority. We have placed 2 e-waste collection centers. So anyone can bring their e-waste from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. There is a person. If anyone want to drop their electronic waste, they can come and drop it. And apart from that, we have partnered with Abans Courier company for the electronic waste collection. They have 22 collection locations island-wide. So it will be easy for us to bring the electronic items island-wide to our facilities. And these are 2 other departments, hygiene and environment services. It do the covering special events, including mobile toilets and gully cleaning and sewage, wastewater and other innovative services. And this built environment maintenance is also one important area. There we are producing biomass fuel. There's a project conducted in collaboration with the UNDP for the biomass fuel production. And we do the tree maintenance. The importance of that is we are using the tree debris and also the invasive waste to make the biomass fuel. And we do the landscaping as well to make the cities neat and tidy. So these are 2 other services. We do the canal cleaning and also the beach cleaning. As the Cleantech Private Limited, since we believe it is a must to do as a responsible company in the waste management sector. So I took these 2 as case studies because we have done a project in Dharmaduwa area, the canal cleaning project. So project was conducted on a canal that flows through a low facility community settlements. Due to the minimum hygiene facility of community, all the sewage and the toilet outputs lines have diverted to the canal. So that will be a huge project, and so we had to utilize more than 15 the janitors for that. And the unfortunate thing is it is very difficult to recycle these because it contains a lot of contaminated waste and also the wet waste. So as responsible citizens, always we should understand to maintain the quality of waste. If the waste is not enough quality, don't have enough quality, then it is difficult to recycle. And this one is the Preetipura beach cleanup. This was conducted with the Biodiversity Sri Lanka and 2 reputed companies. Here we have got the statistics as well. So total material collected was more than 2 tons. Out of that, the aluminum cans, glass containers, PET, mixed plastic were very few, but majority of organic, the wood particles. Here also the problem was all the recyclable items are wet. Only glass can be recyclable since it doesn't have any problem with, although it is wet. But paper waste we can't recycle anymore since it is wet, and also same thing applied for the polythene waste as well. It contaminated with mud and different materials. The one unfortunate thing I observed in this cleanup program was I could find there were a lot of garbage bags. Garbage bags were hid in different places. The reason is in the previous beach cleanup programs, they have done for the sake of doing, and after collecting everything, put it in the garbage bag and put in a corner, and they go. They just want the reputation, and they take some images and they publish it in the social media, but the waste is still there. But as responsible citizens, we should always assure the waste goes for the proper disposal proper dispose. We always should keep an eye on what happens to the waste after we dispose it. And we always believe the collaboration is the way to move forward. That's why we have partnered with a lot of companies. We have partnered with last year we have partnered with the Central Environment Authority and the Sri Lanka Post to have the e-waste collection week. So there we could collect more than 12 metric tons of electronic waste. So it shows the people are ready. They are ready to give their electronic waste to proper e-waste recyclers. We collected from the Kandy, Nuwarelia, Matale, Gol, Matara, Hammantata, and Monragala. So there we we could do it very successfully because we had the good collection mechanism island wide. And apart from this, we have partnered with different private sector organization and also the schools and also the governmental institutions as well. So now since we are looking for the expansion opportunities, we are trying to move ahead with the technology. So we have introduced the smart truck. So the importance of smart truck is it has two compartments. One is for the perishable and one is for the other refuse waste. In one trip, we can collect both these items. That is the importance of that. And we have developed a smart app, and also with the collaboration of CM Colombo Municipal Council and also Mobitel, we have smart bin system as well that is in the trial stage. So this is here also it is good for us to find the resource personnel from this SCP forum. Here it has a lot of resource personnel where we can get the help from them to develop and move with the new technology. And this is the most important thing, challenges we face in doing this waste management over the years. First one is the quality of recyclable waste. As I said, the quality should be maintained properly, otherwise it is very difficult to recycle. It will be additional cost for us. For an example, the first image if you can see, this was put to drop the paper waste. It has very clearly mentioned in the sticker that is for the paper waste. But see what has happened. This is in a private institution, but that is the irresponsible behavior. If it is only paper, then it is very easily recycled. But here, we have to segregate again. And we are receiving the dismantled e-waste items. So if you can see the image, so certain e-waste items we are receiving in the core, there is nothing in it. All the valuable particles are taken and the rest of is they are giving for us. Then it doesn't have any value for us as well. So it will be so here we also looking for the financials as well. Otherwise we can't survive these things. So it is very difficult for us to recycle if you are not giving the complete items. And the mixed waste problem I discussed, and the lack of responsibility by the public. So we have understood the people are not lack of awareness. They are well aware because they get a lot of advertisement, a lot of activities, a lot of leaflets. By these things, they know they have well aware about this waste management, but only thing is they are not taking the enough responsibility. That's what we should encourage always. And the safety of employees is one more challenge we have. Even during the pandemic situation, we couldn't stop our work. We had to work. Even during these days also, our people are working in the road. But the most fortunate thing is out of everything, only 0.05% was infected, because we always our workers, our janitors always adhere to the health guidelines. So that is one challenge we should always focus on. And the informal movement of e-waste. In the corner image, you can see there are open burning and there are data destruction issues. So as I said, there are informal movement of waste. So that should be something reduced from this country. Otherwise, it is very difficult to conserve this environment and protect this environment. And the recognition from the public for waste collectors, it is a waste collection. So people don't have any good recognition or the reputation for that job, but it should be changed because they are the people who are cleaning the city and make the country clean. And the frequent change in value of waste. So all these well, items have a particular value, it is changed due to different reason. In the pandemic situation, it frequently changes. So it is very difficult to maintain a constant value for this recyclable waste. And the final one is waste way to move forward. So as we thoroughly believe the collaboration and common forums for recyclers and the stakeholders are an urgent need, because we believe there are certain companies who have more technology than us for certain areas. They have more skill than us in certain areas. So we always try to give that portion to them. So that's how we should move forward. Otherwise, if you're trying to move alone, then we can't give a solution for this waste problem in future. And there should be good private public partnerships and the improved logistic structure for waste management. The processing and also the logistic is two areas which affect this waste management problem, because it is very costly and people are reluctant to engage in the business since it is because of this logistic and processing cost. So there should be improved structure and well-structured e-waste collection programs, as we did last year with the CEA, Sri Lanka Post, is a good way of doing it, and it is better if we can implement that kind of programs again and again. And targeted public awareness programs. We should not do the awareness programs for the sake of doing. We should first target what sector in the society need more awareness, and targeting that only we should do these awareness campaigns. And the implementation of EPR schemes, extended producer responsibility schemes. I think in the forum also we have discussed about these extended producer responsibility schemes. I think it is going on, and it is better to implement these schemes. And finally, it is much needed thing to absorbing foreign technology to Sri Lankan firms and local research and development. That is the area we should focus if we are going to expand the waste management operations and waste management in Sri Lanka. So these are the few references I used. And thank you for the forum, and thank you for the whole audience for listening to this. I think I got I could share some experience where I have gone through in engaging in the waste management sector. And I think there are resource personnel in this audience as well. They have done a lot of researches and a lot of findings in this area. So finally, we wanted to move from this as a clean tech private limited. We also trying to expand. So there, I think the SCP forum and the resource personnel it has can help in moving ahead. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kasun. Thank you very much. You have taken us through, I think, the true segment of your presentation. In the first part, you have given us a very good account of, where we are with respect to the waste, the management. And then the second part, you have enlightened us about the operation of your company, which is very interesting, and also with special emphasis to your involvement in the e-waste, the management, I think, which is very important. And also we are very happy to note that we, by 8:30, I think we had about 55 participants, mostly, I think, the non-members of the forum. Thanks to our colleagues who have communicated this, the webinar to various other groups who are interested, especially our youth, the groups who are taking very keen interest in this area. So with this, and also we have our members, a couple of them, those who are really engaged in this area, this subject area, the waste management in different capacity. And also, Kasun, it is very good to listen to a real practitioner. At the ground level. Now let's open this for question and answers. Now I can see some the questions in the chat box. Maybe we can Kasun, you can respond to some of these questions. There's one question. Let me read it out. There's a question about the CFL and LED bulbs. Do you have
Yeah.
facility to collect used CFL and LED bulbs? If so, are there any place in Kandy?
Yeah, it is basically it's like this. For the LED bulbs, we have the solution, but for the CFL bulbs, there is a huge concern in this country. Earlier, the Asia Recycling is used to do that, but at the moment they also have stopped. But we are looking for the opportunity to export. So there's a company who we are talking at the moment. So definitely we can provide the solution for the CFL as well. And in the future, I will let you know if you can have the contact. I can share those information. For the LED bulbs, we can collect in Kandy. He's asking about if so there are any place in Kandy. Just for the urban courier locations, you can hand over your LED bulbs. I will share the contact details of that particular location. Then you can go and drop it off.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Yeah, Mr. Kami, there's a question which is directed to me.
Yeah.
I assume there is a substantial volume credit debit cards where staff date expire. So we are used to provide the destruction services as well for these credit debit cards. But yes, we can take these credit and debit cards. The only problem is even the banks collecting for a long time and giving for us. So regularly we are not getting. But if you want to dispose it with us, definitely we are open. We can accept it.
Okay.
So since we have the destruction services as well, we can destruct it, and then you don't have to any worry, and we will be providing the destruction certificate as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kasun. And then you can raise your hand, and then we'll give you the opportunity to ask the question, and introduce yourself briefly and ask the question, please. Okay, Kasun, until others get ready with the questions, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Now you said now you are engaged in the e-waste management.
Yeah.
And you said, you're getting a lot of e-waste after removing the valuable parts of it. Yeah. So
Yes.
you're getting only the, say, only the shell, and, the people have taken out, the valuable things. Now we see a lot of small timers going around every day and collecting these items, and we know that they are not doing it properly, but
Yeah.
they know the value of it. They know the value of it. That is why they go and collect it. And is there a mechanism for you to get them involved with your operation? I mean, they can be the collectors, because I
Yes.
mean they go all over, and also I think maybe if they just sell it to you, they may not get the value they are expecting, like because they are going for these valuable, the precious the metals they are in. So
Yeah.
what is there a mechanism you have to get them into your system?
Yes, exactly. We have practiced this, and we have already implemented this kind of thing. And from all over the country, maybe in Kurunagal and Gol, we have practiced. There were people who are doing this, the e-waste collection, but something informally. So we discussed, and we met them, and we discussed with them, and what they wanted to do is a proper buyer. Then if they have a proper buyer for those things, then they don't have any problem about the collected waste. So that is the assurance we gave to them, and we partnered with them. Then definitely they will be collecting for us, collecting the waste for us, and then they come to us. So the only thing they wanted is the assurance for their waste collected.
Okay. Okay. There's another question, I think, from Dr. Sugatapala. Um, uh, how do you manage the final residues generated from your facility? The final disposal, how do you do it?
So that means from the electronic waste or the plastic?
No, all I think it applies to all waste. What happens to the
Okay.
residues? Yeah.
Yeah. So at the moment we are generating a lot of for an example, if we process the electronic waste, there are items, small transistors and the small battery stuffs we are collecting from the electronic waste, and we have already discussed with the buyer. We are the person who are buying from us from the foreign country for these type of residues. The only problem is we need to collect for a long time. Otherwise, it will be a small quantity. For an example, if we collect for 1 month, it is a very huge, very small amount. So for that, we need to do is we have to collect for a long time and collect ample amount of the waste, and then we can export it. And also at the meantime we are having a discussion with and understanding with the INSEE, which is also waste management person in the waste management company in the waste management industry. So for that, these the residues and also the other non-recyclable stuffs we are disposing with them at the moment.
Okay.
Ms. Yanai, can I just have a follow-up question? Sorry.
Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Sugatapala.
Thank you for the response. I'm just wondering, like, even presently, when the government doesn't have a mechanism to dispose residues. Residues means no value products. Like when we extract all these valuables at different level, finally there may be even maybe small quantity. This can be hazardous, also no value type of thing. So.
Yes.
So therefore, even these medical waste, these facilities also they don't have a choice. So presently they are collecting, storing, looking for. I think the present direction is that one of the cell in this Arwakalu site would be upgraded to accept this residues. So if that happen, I think you can also join there. But what we understand is at present we don't have a solution. So I'm just wondering whether, like, of course, you are collecting, whether you are looking for a future solution or do you have a solution now?
No, sir. So these items, we don't have any solution. As I said, that is where the CB forum also can give us the support. So I have already discussed with Mr. Garni Sinanak as well. So we have different items. We don't have any options at the moment. In when you say small residues, certain items we can export to this the buyer, but the very small particle stuffs we can't export. But we need to accumulate. It is getting accumulated in our sites, but since we are a authorized and the responsible company, we can't dispose it. So if you can come to our sites, there are certain items we are accumulating. Since we don't have any option to dispose.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's not your problem; it's a national issue. We
Yeah.
have to get together and then solve the problem.
Yes,
Address this problem.
exactly.
But in we really appreciate your contribution to reduce the waste quantity and so on. That question is just to not to identify a fault, but try to understand the issue, and we'll get engaged in the future to address this issue. Thank you very much for your contribution and also the information. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Parakuma Karunaratne, you raise your hand. Your turn now.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Kasun, for the nice presentation. This is regarding, you mentioned in the presentation that you kind of produce some fuel from biomass waste and also invasive plant. So what kind of fuel you make from them?
It is basically, sir, we generate biomass fuel. It is a project in collaboration with UNDP, United Nations Development Program. They have introduced a biomass cooker. So the project was to make fuel for that biomass cooker. So that is the first project, and it's still going on. So we have the machinery to produce the biomass fuel. So at the moment we are producing with this tree debris and also with rice husk. These stuffs we are generating biomass fuel. At the moment, we are using it for this biomass fuel cooker.
Okay, it's like char, or is it like in the raw form?
In the raw form.
Okay, okay.
It's
I
like,
mean, do you deal with? I remember you mentioning like you are also targeting these invasive plants. Is that
Yeah,
so?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I think someone has to take this one up, because even things like this, Yodanidikumba, I think, I don't know whether this is probably everywhere now. Even if you go to Hantana, unfortunately now this is spreading like a kind of wildfire, and no one is taking any actions to deal with that one. I know there are a lot of logistical issues to deal this one, but I think there should be some solutions for these kind of issues also.
yes.
Can I just add to that one? For this project, Professor Karunaratne, is this Sustainability Authority and UNDP, this biomass project, where they have brought the pellet store, the pelleting. So this particular
Okay.
project, Abans is the the implementing agency. So this basically pelleting, and for this invasive species, earlier the project identified this Kalapu under as one of the is a high calorific value drive type of biomass, but we have issues. So therefore this this targeted for Kalapu under, but then of course this can be extended beyond that. So basically is cultivation and then grinding it and then pelletizing and then give it to this Kusto. So this project is been extended now. There's a new project coming on this coming there next phase, which include kind of a dissemination of these custos in a large scale, where we need to have this pellet marketed like So that's there. So that I think probably we can indicate to this other invasive species so that there will be multiple benefits. Thank you.
Yeah. Also maybe other users also, because if you take this Yoda Nidikumba, it seems to be very strong type of wood. I mean, probably someone can look at the other uses also.
Right.
Thank you very much again.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Sena Piris, your turn.
Okay, thank you, Gamini. I think it's very informative presentation, and thank you, and it's nice. My question is now, with this waste to energy plant in operation, how has the Colombo waste management situation changed? Because especially now they expect, I think, all the plastics and everything burn to be sent to them. But that means that we cannot recover the valuables from that. How has it affected your operation, and how the Colombo waste management situation has changed?
Yeah, so with the implementation of the waste to energy plant, they haven't because since they don't have enough calorific value for this waste to energy plant, that's a problem they have at the moment. But so from our side, from clean tech perspective, since the legal the gazette also there, so definitely we have to direct the recyclables for the recycling. So since we have the recyclable facility inside the company, so at the moment we are collecting all the recyclables. Our janitors are collecting recyclable items from different places and they are bringing it for the depots. So from those depots we are taking all these recyclable items. So that is also another extra income for them as well at the moment. So we always encourage to take the recyclable out of that thing, because we don't want to send that for this incineration thing, because it recyclable should be recycled. That's the problem we have. But yes, it is correct, and there is a problem with the mixing waste as well.
Yeah. I think this
Thank you.
Yeah, Sena, this is something that we have to manage it properly, because otherwise the waste to energy project came in at a time where we had when we had a lot of problem with the waste management. Of course Dr. Sugatapal is here, and he knows in and out of it. But at the same time, now we need to make sure that there won't be many new such projects. Otherwise, there will be a tendency to generate more and more waste for them to be them to have the enough waste for the operation. So I think maybe this is a good area for us to have maybe a very special session on this. The different aspect of it. I'm sure I mean there may be a lot of things that Dr. Sulkapal could contribute, but let's try to have a very special session for this subject. Yeah. And now, Mr. Nimal Perra, your turn.
Thank you, Kasun, for your elaborative presentation, and also we, of course, we recognize more than what we see on the road. The way your people, how they are working on the road, the way the things they are moving around is something which we saw. But beyond that, there is a big operation. Thank you very much for your effort in making this aware us about the behind the screen matters, as well as the giving a good kind of exposure to your work. A couple of questions I have. One thing is uh, part of this one is already raised by Dr. Subrata, because I think UNDP has already started this biomass depots. Still, they have there is a void. There is a void-like thing still to bring more and more biomass, especially the segregated biomass, bringing into, let's say, even the tree branches and all this stuff, even to bring to the place and making a kind of enriching our biomass-based energy supply. Still, I think there is a potential. Number one question is whether you have make your mind to make something from that side, and the second one is actually now your operation is mainly towards the end of pipe treatment, like whatever the waste you are collecting and trying to make it profitable, or now my question is, while you all are promoting this end of pipe treatment, do you all have any effort to make the people aware about the sustainable consumption or the responsible consumption? That is something, my second question. And with respect to the very recent past situation, this ship fire, we have, I think it's not only that, I think a lot of opportunities for marine pollution, addressing the marine pollution. Do you all have any future plans to get into that, at least for the seashore pollution? That is one of the major issue. And the last question is, actually, I raised this one directly to you as well. The use of, especially the recycled plastics, especially the PET like PET plastics, and PET plastics for to make the fibers and use for brooms, and then use of plastics for road surfacing. Because due to the abrasion, high level of abrasion, there could be because now there is a tendency of increasing atmospheric microplastics as well. So how is your perspective about this one? So these are the 4 questions. Sorry, I'm keeping sending more and more questions. Sorry about it. What is your idea?
Yeah. Thank you.
Kasun, maybe you can take one by one because there were 4 questions. Yeah. Maybe you can start with the second question. The response to the second question. His question was, now your approach is more towards the end of pipe treatment. You try to So whether you have any initiatives at the other side, the waste minimization and getting people for responsible consumption and production. Maybe you could respond to that first.
Yes, exactly. Because as I mentioned in my presentation, so most of the time, although we are getting recyclable items, that is most of them are sometimes contaminated or not in the good quality. So in that case, when we are doing the awareness campaign, so at the moment we are doing a lot of awareness campaigns in CMC areas and through the social media. So we always encourage not to go for this recycling thing. Before that, it is better to reduce, because reduce and reuse, because the problem, as I said, the recyclable waste is not in the enough quality as we expect. So that is always should be encouraged. And yes, there is good advice as well, good opinion as well. So it is we will be doing these we will be the focusing on this consumption part as well in our future projects. At the moment we have done, but not to the best level. So we can include that as well, since we have also have a problem with this quality of recycling. And next is about the marine pollution thing you said. For that, we at the moment we are we try to do the waste management in this Colombo dockyard, and also we are having the beach cleanups, and also we are having some footprint in the port, Colombo port as well, having this the ship waste, and also this waste handling in the ports authority. So, but at the moment we haven't gone that for that marine part yet. But it's a good area we can focus. So that's why we need the advisors and also the resources from these kind of forums to move ahead. And as I said earlier, it is always we are encouraged to expand further for these areas. So at the moment we are not. And about the use of recycled plastic for this the PET plastic, and also the plastic rods, right? So in my presentation also, as I mentioned, there are pros and cons. For an example, in making the rods out of this non-recyclable plastic, there are pros and cons, because it is still there in the soil. So that is a problem. But at the moment, since we don't have good solutions for this airborne plastic as well, so it will be we believe it is a good solution at the moment. I think we can get a lot of advices from this panel. More than me, there are certain people, certain resource personnel who can provide an answer for this. But at the moment, I think it is one best solution. So we haven't practiced it yet. I have seen, I just gave an examples. We haven't practiced yet, but it can be a good solution given the situation in the country.
Okay, Kasum, thank you. Maybe we can take the last question from Mr. Janaka Vijayasena. Are you still with us? You can raise your question now.
Yeah, Mr. Kamini, thank you very much for the opportunity. Kasun.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Very impressive and factful presentation. I would like to have a bit that, when we are spending that we have some circumstance, that what is your opinion as a young engineer, that how can we move forward with the responsible consumption and production within this new normal situation?
Yeah. So about the first thing about the responsible consumption, that is one area we definitely need to address, as I said, even in the 3R concept. So we should understand what is the quantity we can consume. First thing, we should understand what are the things and what is the quantity of items we can consume in the first point. Then only we can think, before going for the recycling or these disposal things, we should reduce from the first point. As I said, if you can bring your cloth back to the supermarket, then you don't need to consume these shopping bags. So and also from your home waste, the waste generated in your home, if you generate very little waste, then waste will not be a problem. So that is something we should do through the awareness. So if as I know, after starting this waste segregation in Colombo district, the amount of waste generated per day dropped drastically. The main reason is after segregating, people can understand very clearly how much of waste we are generating per day. For an example, how much of food waste we are generating. If you start to segregate only, then you can understand how much you are wasting. So from that point, if we can do this segregation and if you can follow this 3R concept, then we can have a good understanding about the consumption and also from the production as well, production side as well. That is what I believe as a young engineer.
Okay.
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 Lovely. Nice.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think we have more questions, but I think the time is running out. We need to close it by 9:30. And before that, the Kasun, I think the question raised by Mr. Nimal Perra, I would like to reframe it. I think his question was, now your business is the waste management, as you know, the clean tech, the Abans group. More waste, you have more business. More waste, more
Yes.
business.
Yeah.
And also the waste to energy company, the same thing. The more waste, you know, they will be better off. Yeah.
Yes.
So his question now, if you say, I think that is the question of Mr. Janak Vijayasekar as well. Now, if you encourage, you know, the sustainable consumption and production, ultimate result would be, you know, there will be zero waste. Yeah. So in a zero waste situation or less waste situation, how do you position your company, you know, from you know, the end of pipe treatment, you know, will there be business opportunities, or to redefine your business, you know, the model? So that is,
Yes.
I think that is the question he asked me.
Yes.
And we like to have a quick response to it, maybe a very short one, but we could certainly, we could discuss, you know, more about it, maybe at a later stage, the very quick response.
Yes, sir. I think it is something we then, if that happens, definitely we should redesign our business. If we can't go ahead with this, definitely we have to change our strategies and adapt with these situations. So that's what I need to say. I have to say. So if we can't hang on this business with the different policy changes or different the attitudes and the thinking patterns of people, then we can have some changes to the current business we are handling at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, Kamini, that is the thing I want to frame up the whole thing, because that will be a good opportunity, a novel opportunity for Avans or the clean tech to take into consideration for their future businesses. With that, actually, again, I would like to share a small idea, because according to some of my past experience, what I saw is, still there are a lot of opportunities for I think clean tech to work with schools, from the school network, and especially from the kindergarten itself, from the level itself. If you all can start in cultivating, inculcating this segregation thing, you all will have a good profit, and the future generation will have a good direction. That is something I want to give a kind of advice to clean tech and Kason. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that opinion.
Thank you, Nimal. I think now the clean tech is seriously looking into the possibility of having a partnership with SCP Forum. I think they have already, you know, realized, you know, the development in this direction. I think we will have a partnership where we can bring in, you know, this SCP concept into their business. Yeah. Okay. Then before I conclude, Kasun, also may I give you something to take home for you to consider in your, you know, the company.
Sure.
Now in countries like Norway, you know, they have a system where, you know, you have, you know, the garden waste, you know, small gardens, but, you know, you need to prune them, you know, the branches, they prune them. They have a very good system. You can take your, you know, all these, you know, the garden waste in your vehicle to a central place. Of course, that is run by the municipal council. So you can take all these rubbish, the garden waste, especially, the branches and things like that. Then they have a, the crushing plant, and they do it free of charge, the crushing, and they can take it back to their garden. And that is a good way of, the putting it for, the soil conditioning and things like that. Yeah. Of course, there it is a free service. Of course, you have to transport yourself. But the crushing is done free of charge by the municipal council as a service. Maybe something in that direction, maybe you can think of, because this is a problem. Even the out of Colombo places like Kurunagala, we have to pay a lot of money for people to take this out. Yeah. So this is.
Kamini, before closing, again, I will give him another idea. That is the abolished building construction, the construction waste. Recycling is a very high need in the country, and I think there is a very good opportunity. Please think about that direction as well.
Okay. So I think we have many new business ideas coming up. I think we can have a brainstorming session, especially on the new business ideas in the waste management field. So thank you very much. I think we had very good participation. Still we have 27. Started with a very small number. When we began, it went up to at one time 55. Still we have 27. So that shows that so we are now gaining momentum. And thank to a lot of the youngsters who have joined us in this the webinar. So thank you very much, Kasun, for taking a lot of effort in putting all these things together and giving a nice presentation. And also for the participants here. So the next webinar is going to be on the 27th of June at the same time, 8 o'clock. And we are looking forward to meeting you again like this to discuss something very useful and timely. So we will let you know the theme and the presenter in due course. So thank you very much for your time, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you. Good night.